Hi, welcome to the New York State Museum for another edition to our Halloween Spooktacular. I'm Fiona, and today I have a crafty science experiment to share with you all about static electricity. But what is static electricity? If you've ever walked up to a doorknob, touched it, and gotten a sudden shock, even if you're just touching any other piece of metal or even another person, if you've seen someone rub a balloon on their head and their hair sticks up and sticks to the balloon, similar to going down a tunnel slide in the playground, by the time you reach the end, all your hair is standing up. These are all examples of static electricity. But what causes static electricity? It all starts with atoms. Atoms are very small. The human eye can't see them. You need a microscope to see atoms, and they are what make up all matter. I'm made out of atoms. You're made out of atoms. The table I'm working on today is made out of atoms. The building I'm in and all the trees outside, everything is made up of atoms. And within atoms are even smaller particles, protons, neutrons, and electrons. Now, protons are positively charged, so think P for positive, and electrons are negatively charged. And these are the two particles that I want to focus on today. Typically, most objects are going to start out with an equal amount of protons and electrons. So even though these particles have positive and negative charges, if there's an equal amount of them, there's no charge in the object. It's neutral. So we see this sometimes with magnets. A magnet has a positive side and a negative side. And this is where the term opposites attract is really going to help us out. If I take two magnets and I have a negative side and a positive side, and I match them up with like or matching charges, my magnets are repelling. No matter how hard I push, they aren't going to click together. But now if I swap and I'm matching a negative with a positive or a positive with a negative, they attract and they'll stay together. And this will help us with some static electricity. So like one of the examples I shared about rubbing a balloon on your head, if you take a balloon and you rub it against your hair, I'm going to do it a long time because my hair's a little long. Hopefully you can see hair sticking to the balloon. So my hair, because two objects are rubbing together and creating friction, my hair is losing electrons. And these electrons have left my hair and gone to the balloon. So now I have more protons than electrons, which makes me positively charged. I have lots of protons, not as many electrons. And now the balloon has gotten all those extra electrons, so the balloon is negatively charged. And since my hair is positive and the balloon is negative, the hair is attracted to the balloon and they want to stay together. So that's a great way to demonstrate static electricity. Now that shock you sometimes feel is all those electrons rapidly returning and balancing out again, so there's an equal number of electrons and protons in an object. That's what that shock is, and usually happens in the wintertime because the air is drier and electrons travel quicker. Alrighty, now that we know a bit more about static electricity, I want to show you our crafty experiment. Some of the materials that you'll need are construction paper, any sorts of colors that you have. Remember, you can always color it. Any scraps of tissue paper you might have, that really thin tissue paper you might find in gift bags around Christmas time. You'll also need glue or tape, some way to attach the pieces. Glue actually works better here than the tape. Scissors to cut out your shapes. A pencil to trace with. Any other coloring that you want to decorate our final activity. And then balloons and a scarf, your hair, your clothing, something to charge the balloons so that we can make sure our experiment works. So I have a couple different ideas to make them Halloween themed. We can make ghosts. So we have tissue paper here. Bats, where the wings will be made out of tissue paper. Or a handprint, where the hand will be made out of tissue paper. With all of our Spooktacular stuff, there will be a bat template with the wings and the body, if you'd like to use that to help you out. But today, I think we're gonna make a handprint. So I think my handprint is going to be orange, and maybe on some black paper. So we can leave our paper just how it is, and I'm going to trace my hand on the orange tissue paper. Tissue paper is a bit trickier to trace on because it's so thin. And I want to use a pen so it shows up in the camera, so it might bleed through. If you use a pencil, it shouldn't do that. But for today, we're going to let it bleed through. Perfect. And cut that out. While I'm cutting this out, one of the interesting things I found out about static electricity is not only does static electricity happen when objects that we come into contact with make friction and rub together and lose and gain electrons, but lightning during thunderstorms and rainstorms is also a form of static electricity, just much larger and a bit more dangerous than those little shocks that we might get touching a doorknob. All right, not the prettiest because I had to use that marker, but it'll work all the same. Okay, so we have my handprint. I'm just going to trim that little bit that's there. Perfect. And to attach it so I get as much of the tissue paper free as possible, I do like to make a tiny little sleeve for my handprints. So all you have to do is just cut a small rectangular square out of paper. I like to use a different color of paper. So first we can glue our tissue paper to the sleeve. Glue sticks, I think, work the best for this because the tissue paper is so fragile. And then we'll glue our sleeve to our large piece of construction paper. And now for the experiment side of it. I'm going to take my balloon from earlier, and I have a scarf that I'm going to charge my balloon on. So you're creating friction when two objects rub together. Sometimes when you rub your hands together so you can warm them up after being outside for a long time, that's creating friction, that heat. Okay, I think that should be charged enough, and we're going to see what happens when we put it near our tissue paper. There we go. So all those electrons in the balloon are attracting the protons that are in the tissue paper because there's so many electrons that the balloon got from my scarf. There we go. It's giving a thumbs up. Excellent job. That's our static electricity experiment. You can do it with all sorts of shapes, and then once you finish, decorate the paper that you did it on. I did some with stickers. I wrote some words on one. You can color a picture around it, like where's the bat, where's the ghost. All sorts of different ways that you can do it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have fun doing this craft and experiment. Have a happy Halloween. Bye.